There's no arguing that the Atlanta Hawks are at least going to talk to other teams about trading Trae Young, and this has kind of spiraled even further. For the first time, we heard that Trae Young, it seemed like he was at least considering the possibility of leaving Atlanta. He's always been Hawks, Hawks, Hawks. I want to win a championship here. But before the offseason even really kicked off, right after we eliminated from playoff contention, he said, I want to be with the Hawks, but I want to win more. So he creaked open that door. And as we see so often in the NBA, it is a slippery slope. Once that door opens, everyone starts inquiring. You start, and listen, Trae Young, if there's ever been a player that loves to play into this stuff and rile people up and put and tweet out really, really ambiguous things, it is Trae Young. I mean, he loves churning up controversy. It's part of his personality. It's part of the reason why some people don't like him, whether you like the Hawks or whether you're a fan of another team. But now we officially, from Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports, have, his preferred landing spots, which are now known, apparently. I mean, if Jake Fisher knows them, then the Atlanta Hawks probably know him, and Trae Young has made him known. And that is the three teams we've really talked about. We've talked about the Pelicans, Zion Williamson, him, Lob City. Seems like that would be a fantastic fit for him. We've talked about the Los Angeles Lakers. Why wouldn't you want to go play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? I don't think they have anything to offer for Trae Young, but it would make sense from Trae Young's perspective. And then the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I don't know if Popovich that's a mutual interest there with Greg Popovich. We've seen him leave him off Team USA more times than I can count when he was the head coach of Team USA. But those are the three teams that are his preferred landing spots, and they're all three that we've talked about. They all make sense. They all need a point guard, and they all have star players in which he can really team up and take their respective teams to the next level in some form or fashion. The Spurs could become a playoff team. The Lakers could become championship contenders. Maybe the Pelicans could as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I took away from this report from Jake Fisher was it's that next step. So the first step was him just even acknowledging the possibility of a post-Hawks move. And now it's even more real. And this has always been a legitimate possibility that the Hawks trade Trae Young. But honestly, I don't know if I could speak for most Hawks fans. I never really ever considered it. Like, I just assumed it was going to be DeJounte Murray. I just assumed the Hawks via Tony Ressler were going to keep Trae Young because he is the show in Atlanta. He is the reason why State Farm is filled. He is the reason why we're swag surfing in State Farm. I just assumed we were going to keep Trae Young. I just didn't even consider it. And that's what I kind of swallowed. I was like, damn, it could actually happen. Because this is the first time Trae Young has even mentioned the possibility that he would prefer to go certain places other than, the Atlanta Hawks. And I think, for Atlanta Hawks fans who suffered through, some pretty abysmal seasons after Bud left. And then even when Trae was here, Trae provided that spark, that light that we're like, all right, we're out of it. We can really build around this kid. He's a superstar. And then we reached the Eastern Conference Finals and we were kind of vindicated. Like, yes, he is that good. It's been all downhill. It's been bad move after bad move, embarrassment on the national stage after embarrassment. And that confidence that we once had in 2021 has withered away to like pessimism really around Atlanta, and it all derives from ownership. But Trae Young still, even with the ownership, provides that spark of that sliver of optimism. And all of this is really just sad. Like, that's what I got out of it. I was like, damn, it actually could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that realization hit me before last season. So, I mean, I've been saying on this show that Trae Young is going to get traded eventually, or at least they're going to start considering it. And when you don't make any moves, when you don't make any significant changes in the roster, it's the definition of insanity. Like, did we really think Quinn Snyder was going to come in here and coach this team and be such a better coach than Nate McMillan, who's the team who's the guy who actually led us to the Eastern Conference Finals?
This idiot did.
Yeah, I mean, but see, do you believe that? Did you believe that, or did you just have kind of
I hoped.
Yeah, you hoped that. We all hoped that. There was always a sliver of hope because, like you said, Trae Young provided that sliver of hope. Because with Trae Young, it didn't matter when you have a superstar of that caliber that can go off for 50 points on any given night. Even if you're the 8 seed, you're like, we got a shot tonight on the road. Well, I mean, look what he did on Boston on the road, hitting that game winner, dropping 40 points, whatever he did to extend the series to 6. You almost took the same Celtics team that just ran away with the Eastern Conference Finals to 7 games just a year ago. So that he does provide that sliver of hope on a game-to-game basis, because if he plays his best, you have a chance to win. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, you didn't make adjustments to the rosters. The one big one you did was DeJounte Murray. It has worked out as worse than anybody could have possibly imagined. And it's just this is what the Atlanta Hawks are. And there's just what are we doing? Like you have to evaluate all your options, because I don't know what else you do, because DeJounte Murray, what does he really get you on the trade market? And honestly, when you look at the contracts, he might be the more favorable contract in terms of bang for your buck.
I can't even get into this, because it really does put me in a sad mood, because I love Trae Young and I do want him to succeed, but I want him to succeed in Atlanta. Like, I don't want to see him succeed somewhere else. Like, if he goes to San Antonio or New Orleans or, God forbid, Los Angeles and succeeds and kind of looks and laughs and points at us Hawks fans and being like, see, y'all were the problem, I can't swallow that. Like, I can't swallow that.
Which I think most Hawks fans believe is the case. Like, I don't think there's anybody that's watched Trae Young that thinks he's not going to have success at any of those 3 landing spots. Like, maybe not New Orleans, because New Orleans is almost just as dysfunctional as us. But if he goes to LA and teams up with LeBron and Anthony Davis, like, that team is a championship contender and maybe the championship favorites overnight, because as we've seen, it's outside of maybe Boston, they're right there in championship favorites. If he goes to the Spurs, the team that we just got from DeJounte Murray, who fleeced us, who have had more success in our lifetimes than we've had in all of our sports combined, times like 10. Like, of course,
just since the turn of the century, they've had more success than our entire
city. So yes, that's good. And Pop, like his little smirk every time.
I can't swallow
every time we play him. Yes,
sorry, Trae, you're stuck. And I can't do it.
And then New Orleans. I mean, think about this. New Orleans, yes,
Atlanta, New Orleans.
Yes, the Pelicans aren't necessarily rivals. We're in 2 different conferences, but I still don't want to see that city succeed.
Every Pelicans fans is a Saints fan. Every Falcons fans is a Hawks fan.
I don't even want their economy to succeed. So it's like, when you talk about the 3 landing spots, like, I'd much rather remember we were talking about, I'm like, Orlando would be a great one.
I'd rather see him succeed with Orlando.
Go to the Magic. That's fine. Like, there's like those 3 teams in particular. Not only are you trading Trae Young, you're talking about 3 teams where I'd hate to see him succeed. I don't want to see the Lakers or Spurs have more success. And New Orleans, I hope that city rots. So it's a tough pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the organization. It's kind of like when we talk in baseball with the Braves, we mention a lot of candidates that are from the Mets or the Marlins. Like, if we're going to go down this route of trading Trae Young, like, we got to be looking 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And it really doesn't matter where we trade him. And at the end of the day, I think Trae Young's still going to have fans of most of Atlanta. Yeah. I still would cheer for him on the Lakers.
Me too.
Because I want to be proved right as well. Because we have been saying we never lost faith in Trae Young. And I'm still not losing faith in Trae Young. I have lost faith in the organization. I think Trae Young has lost faith in the organization. And when that happens, you're past the slippery slope. We're at the bottom of the slippery slope. And there's really, you can't run back up a slippery slope.
No, it's like that, that thing in a marriage, or that thing in, like, when you think it's over, or like retiring, like when players talk about all the time, when they're like talking about, like, I thought about retiring, I was already retired. Same thing with married couples. You're like, I already thought about divorce. You're already divorced. That we're inching dangerously close, and we don't have an inside, source to the organization. They already may be there. Like, we already may be there where we don't even know that, like, hey, the ultimate outcome has already been decided. It's just a matter of the route that we take to get there. And that sucks.
There's a possibility over the next 12 hours Trae Young's traded. Like, that's like an actual possibility. Yes. We just saw Mikal Bridges traded. There's a legitimate possibility that at any point over the next couple of days he is traded, and these conversations have been going on for months. So you're 100% right. We'll see what happens. At least we know one thing: this offseason is going to be entertaining.
It won't be boring.
Yeah, it is going to be entertaining from start to finish for the Atlanta Hawks, which is something we haven't had in quite some time.